Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. As of this moment, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show has officially finished with episode 6, and boy, do I have some things to say. General first impressions, but first things first, again, like always, for this series, I am going to be talking spoilers, so if you have not seen the final episode of Kenobi or any of the episodes prior to this, do not watch this video, watch my others, and then come back. Because today I'm going to be talking about everything that I loved about the final episode, but also the series in general. I'm going to give the episode a grade, and then I'm going to give the overall series a grade. So that's what you can expect today. So this finale had everything that I wanted. There was a lot going on. Obi-Wan had to essentially leave Leia in order to get Vader off their trail. So that way Vader can go down and fight Obi-Wan one last time. And I gotta say, that entire final fight with Vader and Obi-Wan on that planet, that was amazing. To see Vader be that, acrobatic and really go nuts with the lightsaber, I was not expecting that, and it just blew my mind. That is probably the most vicious Vader with a lightsaber we've ever seen. And I know there's Rogue One and Empire Strikes Back, but this fight in particular just blew it out of the water. It was absolutely great. I enjoyed everything about this fight, and I loved how Obi-Wan started to get back into the groove of things. He's now becoming the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan, where he is now very strong with the Force. He's probably stronger than he ever was. It took some time, but that's just essentially, what it took to get him to that point. And the moment when Vader has the high ground, I laughed my ass off when that happened. But it was such an epic moment. Vader just leaves him in the rubble. And then Obi-Wan comes out, and he's using the Force to throw rocks at Vader, mirroring the Empire Strikes Back. It was all just great. And then concluding with Obi-Wan cutting the left side of Vader's mask, exposing, the left side of Hayden Christensen's eye and face. And then the whole conversation, there is so much more to the conversation where, these two characters are now looking at each other in the eyes. And what's interesting is in the moment that Anakin tells Obi-Wan that you didn't kill me, and that I am not your failure, the blue color of Obi-Wan's lightsaber is illuminating over that side of Vader. And then, the light goes away and Vader says to him, I killed Anakin. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I killed him. And how I did it, I'm going to do to you. And when he says that, now his lightsaber, the red lightsaber, is hovering over his eyes, showing him the conflictedness of the good side and the dark side. Which, again, that is what Anakin is going through. He's still in there. Anakin Skywalker is still in there, but Vader still has a very strong grip on who he is. And that whole moment was great, and seeing just having Obi-Wan tell him that, that whole line where he's just apologizing to Anakin and just saying he was sorry, and then Anakin saying that, I'm going to destroy you like how I destroyed Anakin. And that Return of the Jedi twist line when Obi-Wan says, then my friend is truly dead, whereas in Return of the Jedi, Luke says, then my father's truly dead. That just hits on a whole different level, man. This was just, by God, I love this show, and this episode was just great. And then after Obi-Wan saying that, he just looks at Vader and says, goodbye, Darth, because the next time that Obi-Wan sees him, he pretty much says, only a master of evil doth. So yeah, he doesn't call him Anakin, he calls him Darth, and he just walks away. And then we get Hayden Christensen Vader on his knees yelling, Obi-Wan! Oh my God, that was just awesome. absolutely awesome. The whole fight between Obi-Wan and Vader just exceeded my expectations. And now we go to the other side of the story where Riva has survived her wound, which is very strange because she got stabbed, but with the will of the Force, she's still out there, and she goes after Luke, which probably, she's probably figured it all out, and she's probably and she goes there to kill Luke, and she gets close, but then she realizes that she can't do it, and because Obi-Wan, tells her, you're trying to make peace and whatnot, and she realizes that by doing this, she would become the very thing that, essentially killed her and her friend. She was trying to become Vader, but now she's not, and now she is technically free to do whatever she wants. And the last thing we see is her crying, and she drops her lightsaber into the sand, insinuating that she's not on the dark side anymore. And that's that. So Riva is technically out there. She could appear at any moment within the timeline. So I'm very curious to see, with the rest of the Star Wars series going further, if we're going to see her again. I mean, I would like to. I mean, I actually thought that she was going to die in this episode. I was really surprised that she's still alive. So I'm curious to see if she will pop up in any sort of animated show or even a live action show, because we still got a lot of stuff happening. So I'm curious to see where that goes. So Obi-Wan saves Luke. Well, no one really saves Luke, because Riva delivers Luke back to Owen and Beru, and Obi-Wan returns to Alderaan to greet Princess Leia, who has been given a blaster holder for her droid and whatnot, and, Obi-Wan says to her, she's just like Padme and Anakin, with not really telling her that, and saying that, Leia she has to pretend that she doesn't know Obi-Wan. She can't say anything because they could get him killed, they can also get her killed. And knowing Leia, she's going to keep that to heart, because again, and this all fits canon really well, because, when Leia makes the message to Obi-Wan in episode 4, she literally is talking like she's never really met him by saying, Obi-Wan, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars, and now he begs you for your return to help the fight. So honestly, it all makes sense. And then Obi-Wan leaves Leia on Alderaan, promising Senator Organa that if he ever needs anything, call him and he will assist. And we know that the next time he does that, it's going to be in episode 4. So that wrapped up really nicely, and then Obi-Wan is now back on Tatooine. He's packing all of his stuff. He's leaving the cave. He goes to give the ship to Luke, and we get the iconic, "Hello there." And God damn, that's just beautiful. And then we get the very best scene. Obi-Wan is heading out into what is it? No, it's not the Dune Sea. I think it's does he live in the Dune Sea? I think it's somewhere in the Dune Sea where Obi-Wan moves and gets his new place. So he's heading in the desert, and a Force ghost appears, and it is finally we see Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn. And that it was only like maybe 20 or 30 seconds of screen time, but it made an impact. It really did. To see Liam Neeson play that character again was just absolutely phenomenal. Like I was shedding tears, man. This was just absolutely great. I forgot another important moment when Vader is talking to the Emperor. We get to see Palpatine come back, and it was just, you just have to watch it, man. I mean, I know that I could say a lot of things about how I felt about this, but it's just, everything about this episode was just perfect. This is what I wanted. I got to see what I wanted to see. Nothing disappointing. There was not a dull moment in this episode, but also the episode wrapped up in a way where everything still fits within the canon, in case anyone's concerned, and you can go into A New Hope still feeling like nothing has drastically changed. There have been some impacts, but now there's more to the story. And I think the Obi-Wan Kenobi show did a great job with that. But really quickly, I'm just going to say right now, episode 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, not taking it back. This was a perfect episode. Absolutely perfect. So now let's talk about the series as a whole. I mean, for the most part, I was really not disappointed by any major thing in story-wise or anything with what I saw. My only big criticisms, and these really aren't even criticisms, they're more I'm drawing a blank. I can't even talk today just because this was just so good, and it's been a long day too. They're more like little nitpicks. My first nitpick is that I feel like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show only really had one bad-ish episode because there really wasn't much going on. It was definitely one of those episodes where you sit and watch and you're like, okay, it progresses the story, but nothing substantial really happens. So there's that. And then my other little nitpick with this show is that and it's more so a Disney Plus thing. I know I've talked about this in the past. I hate it when, a series starts and it's 50 some minutes. And then as the series continues, the episodes kind of get shorter and shorter. And then most of that time is kind of queued up with the credits. And for the most part, Kenobi kind of went down with that, where the first episode, I think, was 52 or 53 minutes, and then it just kept going down and down until we got to, I think, the last 2 episodes. Thankfully, this episode was close to 50 minutes, which I appreciated, but I really wish we could have had more time with the episodes, because I feel yes, and I know a lot of fans are saying this, there's probably more that we could have seen and more that I would have liked to see, but in the end, though, I am still 100% satisfied with the show. I think it's another great live-action Star Wars show. I continuously love The Mandalorian. I thought the Book of Boba Fett was great. And Obi-Wan Kenobi just adds another to that category, and it's just great. And, as long as the people who are working on this, mainly Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, I feel like as long as they are working or being a part of these shows in some way, I think we are in pretty good hands for some really great Star Wars entertainment, and it makes me really excited for the future. And I know that in time I'll probably talk about The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 before season 3 starts. But I can tell you right now that I still genuinely love The Mandalorian. I mean, I've got this. Does that not tell you something? But Obi-Wan Kenobi delivers with so many memorable moments, great fight scenes, amazing characters. Everyone did such a great job. Despite my few nitpicks, this was an absolutely great show, and I'm going to give the Obi-Wan Kenobi series an A-. Just being realistic with those little nitpicks in mind, and maybe a couple other things I didn't really say, I'm going to be honest, it gets an A-. It's not 100% perfect because I really do feel like there could have been more that we should have seen. But overall, it's still a fantastic show from start to finish. I love how they start it, and I love how they end it. And now that it's complete, I think I can kind of get over that one episode that doesn't really do much, because now that we have the full story, I know where it goes, and it was just great. So yeah, A- for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I have been hearing rumors that this possibly could get a season 2. How would I feel about a season 2? Honestly, I would love a season 2 of this show. I think it would still be great. I'd be very curious to know what they would do, because I do know that Ewan and Hayden have both said they want to come back and continue to play these characters. So if they do a season 2, as long as they've got the same writers, Deborah Chow has to direct this. If they're doing a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Deborah Chow has to be the director. And that's another thing I want to mention too. She did a great job directing this, and every shot with Vader was great. They knew how to treat Vader in this show, and Deborah did such an amazing job that if I watched this when I was if I watched this and I was little, this would scare the holy shit out of me. That's how well she directed Vader. She did a really great job with that. So if they do a season 2, I'm up for it, but I feel like the original team has to come back. Deborah Chow must direct. That is a must. This was great. I'm completely satisfied with the show. Would I have liked to see more? Yeah, I would have liked to see more. But from what I got, I'm satisfied. And now we have another great Star Wars series to add to Disney Plus that we can watch at any time. So yeah, that is a wrap on Obi-Wan Kenobi. I hope you guys have enjoyed my parts of this series. I used to do this episode by episode in my early days in YouTube, but I think it really depends on the show for me how excited I am. This was an exception. I had to do this for Obi-Wan, but this was just great. I think I have a surprise reviews, not necessarily a marathon, but a series of videos pertaining to a particular show that I do plan on reviewing down the line. I'm currently watching the show right now, and once I finish the first season, I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. I think it's time that I talk about the seasons of this show. But then as far as movies go, the next movie that I see will be Thor: Love and Thunder. I've got my ticket, and I am ready. Thank you all so much for watching. What did you guys think of the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think there should be a season 2, or do you think they should just leave it as is? I'd love to hear what you think. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.